Siege might be something for us to participate in. Let's see. It says he's still here. If he's here, we can fire up an episode because that siege definitely bears inspecting. And that would be actually a great opportunity for us to get our first city. Let's see if he's here first. He is here. All right. All right, friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. Welcome back to Rise of the Rhodoks, this overhaul mod. Jarl Snow, the creator of Nightmare Sails, in fact, we're playing Nightmare Sails along with it, has created this amazing new revival of the Rhodoks, right? Kingdom of the Rhodoks. We are part of it, and we're about to join the Rhodok Kingdom here. We have a fairly sizable army. We're on the ocean, or we've been on the ocean. I can give you a little bit of a recap. And we're fighting a civil war versus Vlandian. In fact, we're about to take our first city here. It looks rather tenuous, though, so I think we'll head in that direction. But first things first, let's catch you up on essentially what has happened off camera here for about 45 minutes, maybe, today. I've been playing, capturing Sea Raiders, and we went to Savfk. We went to the nicest armory in the kingdom, and we have loaded our character up here. You'll notice, or maybe you didn't see, but we had about 1 million dinars prior to all this mercenary work. We've been doing good stuff. And we have loaded our character up, right? He now looks like a short, badass wolfman with a spear, and we're going to continue to upgrade his equipment. Now, reinforced scale, that's very comparable, very expensive too. Let's see what it looks like. All right, I think we're gonna roll with it, right? The armor that has been made for this mod, Jarl Snow has done a great job, right? I dare say he could fake his way into a Tale Worlds graphics creation anytime he wants. So we've got these gloves and boots and stuff like that, but we've got to wear this, right? This is just great. This is also armor that comes with Nightmare Sails. You get these pieces of armor that are sort of grafted together. So you get this bear head on top of that great looking chain helmet there. It's a really nice effect, and most importantly, it's going to keep our dude, from getting obliterated every other battle. In fact, let's go ahead and upgrade him to a proper Rhodok type of shield, right? We've got a huge shield now. Need to upgrade that crossbow too. I guess we could just spend all our money. To hell with it, right? We've got stuff we can sell here. I'm not going to bore you too much at the outset of this episode, but I'm going to be encumbered unless I sell some of this. And we're about to join the Rhodoks as a proper vassal. We have the High Captain, or whatever he's called, Grunwalder, is here. Let's sell some of our excess food and pay 170. We're still going to have a good amount of money, and we're obviously going to be able to tackle enemy forces pretty readily in this campaign. In fact, we can go donate some of these prisoners here. We picked up all kinds of Sea Raiders and whatnot. Now, this is a new UI feature. You note the red here, Culture Clash. This is something I picked up recently from the Jarl. Jarl Snow is constantly tinkering. This guy is I dare say he's addicted to Bannerlord as much as I am, which is a lot, right? That means you need some therapy or something like that, Jarl. All jokes aside, this guy's dedicated to making his mods better, and this is a great one here. Basically, if you don't know, with Nightmare Sails, you don't get to use troops from other kingdoms, or at least not for very long, right? You will have these guys desert on you. So it tells you the ones that are going to desert. So I'm just going to sell these guys here. We'll get a bunch of influence for them. We increase our relationship with the king, and that'll make it even easier for us to join his kingdom. Now, it means we're going to lose our mercenary contract, so money's going to be a little bit dear in this campaign, but that's okay.
Keeping busy, I assume?
Now, you got to upgrade his look, Jarl. He looks like a blacksmith or something like that. But all courtesy aside, right? You got to make this guy look badass, unless that's historically what he looks like. He kind of looks like a... Anyways, he looks a little bit like a dipshit. There, I said it. All right, so we're going to swear fealty here. Yada, yada, yada. And as usual in our campaigns, right, we like to be very transparent about our character. No surprises, no secrets. When you join a kingdom here, our little short, squat guy, right, he's short, but he's thick, so... we like our wife and our future leaders to know exactly what we have, right? The full package here. So looks like we get some nice equipment here. In fact, a couple of good banners. I'll take that banner for sure. We're going to suffer a lot of melee damage in this campaign. We've got some nice armor now. We're feeling good. I'm not going to tell you too much about our different companions that we've armed up in this campaign. This campaign is just going to be too short. But of course, we've got our wife. She's looking pretty sporty. She's got a river scale thing there. And I guess we could upgrade some of her armor as well. But she looks pretty good in her gear there. And eventually we will upgrade some of these other equipments, right? We got this archer is brand new out of the tavern. Most of our units have pretty good stuff because we have lots of money, right? I guess this guy here, we could upgrade a little bit. But we're not gonna worry about that kind of stuff too much in this campaign. Now we do have, where's our pike dude? Oh, he's on a quest. Our main infantry guy, who's one of our pikemen, is on a quest. We want to give him that banner that does more damage to enemy cavalry. All right, let's figure out what to do here now. We're going to recruit troops, and notice how many troops we have. Right? It's like obscene. That comes with war sales. It's basically a built-in feature that probably needs to be adjusted a little bit here. You can essentially have a huge army at sea with very few consequences to it, right? We have this huge fleet. We've got a bunch of boats. This boat, of course, is custom to the Rise of the Rhodoks, right? Don't tell me this mod isn't badass, because I disagree with you, right? You've got basically Rhodok boats, and then we picked up a Drakkar and a Battle Nar up at Valvik. I always like to make a stop at Valvik if I'm in this corner of the map, because they just have great boats usually, great armor, and of course armor is the key to keeping our troops on their feet for the long haul here. Now let's see if we can get over to this city. We want to help them with this city, right? This is definitely beneficial for us, because there's a real chance if we can take Sargat that we'll get awarded that city, right? We don't have any fiefs. We're a brand new vassal. We've made the king happy already. I think we're married to his sister or something like that. And Dirt is sieging up here. That means he's probably not going to defend. No, get back on your boat, you dumbass. Did I tell you to get on the land? And you don't want to go to land, right? If you're doing this thing with troops, look at this shit, right? We've got 370 troops. Now, a lot of these troops are going to desert, right? All of these guys here are going to desert us because of the culture clash, right? They don't want to fight for the Rhodoks. But at least for the short period of time, we're going to be able to carry these guys in our army. And woe be thee that gets in the way of this force here, right? We basically sail through the ocean here. We know we have the biggest dick in town, right? Nothing's going to fight us. The Corsairs, everybody's going to get out of the way of our force here. We're not quite ready to siege cities on our own, but we can definitely make an impact here at this siege. And what is happening here? 1,100. It looks like they're starving the garrison. I think that's what I'm seeing. Our wife had twins. Things are going well in this campaign. Now, as soon as we get off the boat here, we're going to be suffering desertion, right? The nice thing is, look at this. You can order it top down, as we always recommend, because your deserters, the troops that are over your party size limit that leave every 24 hours, they come from the bottom of your roster. That means we're going to lose all these troops that we can't keep anyways. So it's a really well-designed system. We'll lose some of these other scrub troops, but that's okay. At least if we reach the battle, wherever the next battle is, with 250 troops, that's a lot better than 160 or whatever our maximum current is, right? We've got our wife. We've got to adjust her. I'll talk about that in a second, because we want to be able to do troop upgrades still with our main character here. So we're doing some raiding, and it looks like we're good to go with this city, right? We want to help them take the city. We could participate. That makes sense to me. It doesn't look like there's going to be any Vlandian counterattack. It looks like they're too busy up here trying to siege Varaxen, right? So I don't think we need to actually fight this. I'm not going to waste your time with battles like that at this stage of the campaign. We're probably going to suffer some dead here that we wouldn't lose if we just ran through a normal. But as long as they don't kill my wife here, I'm not too upset. That is a lot of death. That's way more than we would have lost during a normal battle, but that's okay. We're not going to cry in our beer too much about that. Let's take just a handful of these prisoners here. We need influence, and that's another change that has come with this mod here. It's a mod addition, just to make nightmare sales even more difficult. In fact, I can show it to you here. Look at this. When I try to recruit forces to us, look how expensive they are. 100 and something to add armies to us. And that's not because of nightmare sales. That's because of a mod we're using that makes it extra expensive to recruit troops. I'm a big fan of this. And this mod is basically, I asked for it and the Jarl made this. If you're an advanced player, it's, you know, normally you can recruit these troops for like 30 and 20 and 16. And if you have 200 influence, immediately when you become a vassal, you can make an army of 1,200. It seems way too powerful, and then of course you can smash your way to victory. I'm going to have to make tough decisions here if and when we actually want to bring troops into our party. And it's worth mentioning that your own companions count as in other words, they cost influence in that situation. So no free lunch in this campaign. We're playing this on about as hard a difficulty as we could imagine, as we could come up with here, other than running around naked. We're certainly going to keep our character well armored here. All right, now the odds of us getting this city are significant, right? Because we don't have a fief, and we have, oh shit, they have a bunch of clans that don't have fiefs. Now, actually, you know what? Every one of these is a minor clan. So we're the only clan that doesn't have a fief. We're like 90% to get voted for Sargit. So let's see here. It looks like they're starving. We got a food problem. I guess we could run to Botania and get some food. We can dump some food on them here. I don't know for sure we're going to get this city, but it's pretty likely. And the city has no money. Okay. And it's interesting. There are Vlandian units here, right? So it's going to be... I don't know how that works, right? If it's going to be a while. Culture shift. Rhodoks 0%. 2 years, 0 days left. Huh. You know what that tells me? That tells me that these cities undergo like a transformation. Right? It's going to be some period of time before this city has Rhodok units. I think that's what that means. I don't know this part. I didn't read that part of the mod, but that's what makes sense to me. That this city is going to be essentially Vlandian culture until we can beat the snot out of the residents, you know, starve them or whatever, until they decide to become Rhodok. I like that feature, right? Eventually there'll be Rhodok units, and this is what I mean, right? We don't even have to vote. We just get awarded the city. Why is that nice? Well, of course, we get the garrison. All those troops are free. So at least we're taking advantage of what we can take advantage here. Now we're starving, right? The city needs food badly. So I'm going to spend a few minutes here and gather up some food. We can take some Botanian units. And they'll desert too, right? We're definitely going to have deserters in this campaign. I'm tempted to run up to Pencannock here and buy all the Botanians food, right? Because our citizens need it. But what do we got going on here? This castle's going to fall. There's drain right here. Let's do it. Let's run up to Pencannock. You know, when your city starves, it's much more likely to enter a rebellious state. In fact, look at the loyalty. It's cratering fast. So I need to buy the food here at Pencannock. We're still getting deserters, but we still also have a strong enough force to basically fight everything out in the open. And let's buy everything here. I'm going to take all their food. It always seems strange to me the cities have no reserve, and look at this shit. We can buy 4,000 food at this city. We'll take it all. We're going to trudge our way back to our city, but we've got to feed the citizens, otherwise we're going to get a revolt. And no equipment here of much use, although I need money. I don't really want to pay you guys for food. How about we just trade? You guys could have some boots and some other shit here. Yeah. In fact, give me your money. Now, using other cultures, I should mention this, right? If your wife marries in, and this is with nightmare sales I'm referring to, this does not apply to Rise of the Rhodoks. As far as I know, of course, the Jarl can feel free to mention in the comments, but with nightmare sales, if your wife marries into another culture, in other words, if you're more accurately, if your wife is of another culture, so say our wife was Botanian, we would be able to use Botanian units without them deserting. But since our wife is Rhodok, obviously we've got a little bit of a problem here. I'm not having these Admiral sharpshooters leave our party. None of those, right? Refuse permission. That's our tier 6 crossbow dude. We're not about to do that shit. Not at this stage of the campaign. It still feels a little bit tenuous. Although suddenly the citizens are going to be fat and happy here. I'm going to give them like a third of this food, and the rest we're just going to shove in the stash. Something like that. Let's stick some of this excess horses and stuff like that. And then let's address this loyalty, right? I think we can do a policy or two that'll help the loyalty in this city. The loyalty is a problem. The food is a problem. You can see it's going down 1 per day. One of the things we can do, of course, is immediately come in here and do festivals and game. We just did the bread part. Now let's do the circuses, right? We just hit that button, and that alone is going to stabilize loyalty. We can come in here and do this one, though, too. Let's go ahead and do, I think it's tribunes of the people. Costs us a little, tribunes of the people. Costs us a little bit of money. You know, the city will make a tiny little bit less money. Oh shit, we're gonna have to strong arm the high chieftain. He doesn't like that policy evidently, but that's gonna help stabilize our city. If your city revolts, right, obviously it's of no value to you. Let's take a look at the troops too. These are free, right? In fact, there's a huge garrison here. This is just obscene. And maybe we'll make a force with our wife here pretty soon. We can make you know, our wife, but as I said, right, if you make a force with your wife, she'll still desert. That's totally disregard what I just said. I was thinking of 4 different things at once. She still costs influence to bring your wife into the party. And I think our entire force here is tier 5 and above. Let's bring in some scrubs here. That way they can desert. We don't lose our good troops. Some rivers, sons, and tribesmen and shit like that. I want to continue to have a force of about 200. That way we can, you know, we can fight a force of 300 or 400 and have a good shot at winning. 71 sharpshooters. We're going to wreck shop with that. Buy the grain from this every time I roll through here. Now, normal, right? I would make multiple companion armies here. Our wife, we'd put her in charge of an army. But if we do that now, and we're probably going to do that soon, it costs influence. And I think it costs almost the same amount of influence as if I'm calling a random lord. Oh, shit. Wonder if we can get back. They took the back door here, and... oh, they're not sieging. They're coming here. Okay. I thought they were heading right to our city. I was like, we just got this city, man. Leave it alone. And I think let's go ahead and do it here. I'll be able to demonstrate this, I think. Let's put our wife in charge of a party. Our own steward skill. We're working on our steward skill here, so it's going to be fine for us to do this. Our army size is going to be smaller in the short term. And it's interesting. I thought it said we've got 1 year and 78 days left before it's RHODOK. I don't know what that means. I just recruited a bunch of Rhodoks there, so... it beats me. We'll figure it out. And let's bring in some of these forces here. What do we got? Tons of Admiral sharpshooters. It's not an incredibly elite garrison, but it's really nice, right? They just dumped a bunch of sergeants and pikes all over the place. Our wife can probably carry 130, 150 troops, something like that. All right, so let's go in here. Create new party. And show 150. That's nice. It's a good amount. Now, worth noting that your companions, including your wife, will dump troops into garrisons when you take cities. So we're extra mindful of that here. We don't need her giving away all our good troops. And this is gonna be interesting to see what she costs. Right? Our wife's like, I'm not free there. And she costs a lot. 77. Now it's nice. She costs less. Basically, she gives us the wife discount. But I like this feature, right? This is basically going to give advanced players one more thing to think about. You can't just make a huge army and think everything's going to be fine, right? Yeah, go ahead, Dirtbert. Yeah, why don't you attack, Dirtbert? You short-sighted dumbass. Yeah, you're disorganized. Catch him.
Stop there, stranger.
Yeah, no, you stop there, stranger. Come with us. In fact, you got prisoners, don't you? We want your prisoners. I'm gonna fight this battle here. You don't auto-resolve when it's close to 50-50 against the king. And we need some combat. You guys are done listening to me talk this whole episode. Let's see here. It's broken our divisions up. I find this happens a lot when you become a vassal. First time you're a vassal, it changes all your shit back to defaults. So set this up quick, and I think we now have enough pikes to run 2 divisions of pikes. I'll tell you, I've got already some savage tactics in mind for this campaign. We don't have our main infantry dude. That's too bad. What I mean, our main infantry guy, we got a guy who's basically, you know, he's a poking motherfucker. He's going to be our main spear infantry in that 1st division. But I think this is still going to work well. So the 1st division, you make like 50 troops, right? We'll do some RHODOK tactics here. And of course, you guys can feel free to leave feedback. I'm not a RHODOK expert here. We've got a lot of tactical experience though, so I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to develop some savage tactics. 2nd division, 6th division. What I've done here, hopefully, is made pike divisions, right? This 2nd division, I see some guys without shirts. I'm not sure. Those guys must be some really low-level units. Maybe those are Britannians. They can't even afford a shirt. And there's some pikes in there, but it's not as many as I want. What I've done here is made that 1st division shields, right? So shields, that'll make them a good defensive square. And, you know, one of your baseline strategies is going to be to form this triangle chevron formation. We'll be able to do it even more effectively once we get even more pikes. If we have an army of 500 or 600, then you intersperse pikes in between here, and it starts to resemble kind of a drunken shieldtron, right? The pike tactic that the Scots and other people used for a long time. You know, we'll imitate the tercios at time with this campaign, but we're gonna reach into our historical tactical bag for this campaign as well. Some of the stuff I've got to dust off some of the tactics from, you know, from long disuse, but we should be able to pick most of this stuff up pretty quickly. And we'll see what Dirt does here, right? They're doomed if they don't, doomed if they do. And what I'm referring to is them charging us, right? If they want to sit there static, well, we've got some of the best crossbow and archers in the game, so they're sitting still. It's pretty clear. I'm just going to race up here with 10x speed. Our character looks like a green blur as we run all the way to the top of this hill. And the AI weakness here, you know, you're exploiting the AI, as people often say. Well, you're beating the AI. Well, give me some players to play, and I'll be happy to exploit some players. Until that happens, we're left to the exploiting the AI here, and they're wasting our time by running to the back of the hill here. This is only going to save you for 30 seconds, Dirt.
Archers, move!
Out of my way, fellas. Can't see. We're going to fight on horse very rarely from here on out. And basically, only really huge battles that are difficult for me to see what's going on are we going to use a horse. Most of the battles from here on out, we're going to be on foot. It's a little bit like the Glaron Heavy Hand Nord campaign. It just makes sense. There's a bunch of reasons it makes sense. And get off your horses, you fucking dipshits. This is a no-horse army. Did you guys get the message? All right, so we're sending in cavalry, predictably. Good, we like that, right? Our square is a little bit far away, but we've got this other pike division over here. They can be out in front. These guys here, and you just want these guys to stand still. That way they start pike bracing, spear bracing. They're running uphill. Who's this division chasing me? Oh, this is that dumbass cavalry. You guys get to charge for being stupid. And they're not going to take suffer serious losses here because they're actually moving so slow. And realistically, ironically, you want enemy cavalry running at you quickly for them to suffer the maximum damage. But it's still going to be just fine. That cavalry can charge. Get in there, boys. All right. Let's push our 6th division down here a little bit. I got a crossbow too. So it's like you feel almost like a skirmisher with this campaign, right? You've got the ability to kill on foot, and then you're lethal to your own troops at range. And this is just a no contest, right? Of course, he was trying to run also. It was never going to be much of a contest. We've got our 15-foot pole here to poke guys in the back. Still going to be vulnerable to crossbow. Right, we're still going to get shot for a lot. Our shield on the back should help a lot, though. And, of course, we're going to have our ability to counter shoot. I think we'll just lead with our shield here. And even though I have a shield out, it still got smoked. But that's all right. This battle is over. And didn't even, not even a scratch. Just our main character here. It's going to take me a little while to figure out the spears, right? Figure out sweet spots. It's wholly foreign to me, right? The tactics are not too different for me. And this is cool. These guys are minor clans that we can recruit. And evidently, they are loyal to us, right? Because it doesn't say culture clash. So we'll take those guys. In fact, we'll just take all these troops. And let's take some prisoners here too. All right. Cruising right along. Now look at our maximum. I just realized we're going to suffer huge desertion here. Our character is kind of a weak steward. He can't add. He can't do arithmetic. Evidently, he can't pay his troops because our limit here is a problem. And I don't think I can, there's no perks I can do to really fix that. There's no policies I can do. Our wife is maxed out. And I don't really want to suffer a huge amount of good troop deserters here. So tempted to run back and put some of our admirals in the city. We'll be able to participate, I think, still in whatever's going on there. Let's just put some of these high-end troops away for later on. Odds of us getting captured in this campaign, significant, right? It's very probable. What else do we have here? We got some low-level troops we can stash. Iron Root, so it's even more crossbow here. All right, that looks good. And the food situation is good. The loyalty's going up, right? There's good stuff here for our city. And all these babies are ultra-fertile wife. Yeah. This Vlandian force is cooked. You can just tell. Now, this is interesting. Where's he going? Is he going to come over here and join? Is he going to try to siege at Sargat? Looks like he's gathering up an army. And you're too late to save this Vlandian force. We're going to engage. Let's see what this looks like. I think we'll fight this. We'll do it fast. But that power bar is close enough. Generally, anytime it's close to the swords, I fight. Because if you auto-resolve here, I lose like 40, 50, 60 troops between my wife and I. We'll lose way less than that if we're intelligent with our tactics here. So, some of these battles we're going to fight, despite the fact that there's not a lot to do here. We're still going to be able to show less experienced players, especially, like what an experienced player does in big, gigantic battles like this. Of course, most of the time, you're just going to anchor behind your ally here. We're sending in cavalry here. That can be one of our jobs, right? In fact, I'm just going to have everybody charge. It's temporary there. I want all these guys throwing weapons and trying to deal these Vlandian cavalry some savage blows. Let's get our 6th division here. We've got little tiny divisions. Let's get them just kind of covering our rear here a little bit. That's cavalry or infantry that'll protect us some from cavalry. You lost your horse, dude. It's fatal. And we've got a nice little rock to anchor our troops on. And what else do we have here? This 1st division. We can bring them down here with me. They can act like a little bodyguard division. Tear their limbs, boys. That's a lot of cavalry, right? I'm happy. I get some cavalry stuck behind us here. With that many cavalry charging from behind, I don't really want my back getting skewered by a couch lance for 1,200. I'm very content to have our forces here play the rear guard. And these Vlandians are going to get blasted. It looks like we have a lot of infantry here, too. Our archers are doing work. Their infantry just insta-died. They're already routing and reforming. We got camels. We got all kinds of fucking troops here. Let's get our archers set up on this ridge. Still charging through here, kind of ornery with their cavalry. I'm going to keep some of our infantry facing the back. That way we've got a little bit of protection. We're not going to get steamrolled too bad. And we're suffering some pretty good losses here, right? These guys are coming in couch lance. Yeah, I see your couch lance. I see you one couch lance and raise you one. And now this battle is all but over.
Forward!
I got to tinker a little bit with some of my settings. My mouse is super sensitive, so I feel like I'm kind of moving all over the place. You need finite control when you're shooting a crossbow like this. I like the Vlandians have some throwing weapons, right? They're really disabled in vanilla, but having some throwing weapons here with Nightmare Sails makes their infantry a lot less weak. I don't know if they're the worst infantry in the game, but they're one of the worst in vanilla. And I don't know how much EXP I derive from just stabbing the horses themselves, but this Vlandian force is out of here. And we could just punch this button out and let our troops exterminate everything that's left. Good job, boys. And that's what I'm talking about. 0 casualties. I don't want 40 or 50 in a battle like that. We still get some prisoners. We still get some troops. Now they're going to desert. Not too worried about that. We get some high-end troops here that we can dump in. We're going to need influence. I'm going to do this a lot, of course, behind the scenes, but you're going to see me occasionally take some prisoners and dump them in castles. In a normal campaign, right, you got 8,700 influence at this stage. Just feels like it gets away from you. But with this new mod affecting our influence, it's a lot more important for me to gather up some of these forces and shove them into dungeons. In fact, I'm just going to click, and we get a whole bunch of influence. 115. All right. Figure out our next move here, right? Maybe Siege Charis, but you know what? I think that is going to be the next episode. I'm going to run down to our new city here. It's stabilizing. And we're going to create a new episode from there. Of course, if you want to see more from this camp, more from the Rise of the Rhodoks, you know you want to see our army form a badass Schiltron. That is coming. We're going to have to develop some companions here into party leaders in this campaign. And of course, your feedback is vital to understand how much more I should show on the channel of this overhaul mod. I think it's great, but I'm not the guy who is watching. You guys are watching. You gals are watching. So let me know, right? Leave your feedback. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, say why, right? Say you want to see me play Realm of Thrones. You want to see me do this or that, right? Your feedback, fellas, ladies, I listen to it. Even though I don't always do it. I'm a politician, right? I've got to go with some level of democracy here. So I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button on the way out, and I will see you next time.